Welcome to the Fancy Thinker. I'm Jared, and today we are finally getting to Comics versus Prose number 17. I got the penultimate issue here of the series, Assassin's Apprentice 3, number 5. So yeah, that's right. Only one more to go till next time. All right, so let's delve right into this. For those of you who are new here, where you been? But this is a series that I've been comparing the prose of the book to the comic book adaptation. I read the comic book adaptation first, and then I read the corresponding sections in the book. And it has been quite the journey. We are 17 issues in now, and we're almost done. So, to begin with, we pick up right in the middle of chapter 21. And uh, right off the bat, we get a. We're picking up. It's a great day of festivity, and Fitz is in his, in his this place where this is supposed to be this alliance going on. Anyways, um the words are taken directly from the book here, and it's pretty much spaced out for this first page here. This first page, um, there's a lot of information in the book that is not presented on this first page. There's a whole bunch of um, things that are skipped because there's a whole bunch of exposition in the book here that the adapters obviously didn't feel belonged in the in the format of the comic in order to make it move along properly. There was one section here where the horses were prepared by Burek, and in here they specify in the book that they wanted to have the charges, the glossy and freshly oiled, and she really gets into the detail about what Burek does to the horses to make them look good. In the comic, that you only have time just to say Burek prepared the horses, and and there was a section in the book about Princess Ketrican, and she was given a little speech at the thing, and there wasn't much covered in the comic about that. There was a picture showing her petting a horse, which was a gift, in that top panel there. But other than that, it doesn't get into detail like the book does. And so, the big surprise here, um, on this very first page, is the fact that we find out that Nosy, his puppy from way back in the beginning of the book here, that we thought Burek got rid of, is actually here and alive and well, and much older, and that was a great story twist that I enjoyed a lot. That was quite a surprise, and you know, in the book, once again, um, they only explain his feelings, that he knows what the puppy is feeling. Of course, in the comics, they show the little magic words in the green that that we know, the comic has been known to show the magic a little more than the book does, actually. So, but moving right along, um, we get, for page 2, we get pretty much a word for word, one page to one page here in the comic, and um, we get, instead of explanations of people's attitudes, we get instead just artwork showing how um, pissed off that kid looks. So it's It's once again very well done artwork by Ryan Kelly, probably one of the better illustrators in the business. Um, and it shows in these adaptations. And page 3 pretty much goes page for page. One page here, one page there. It's page 388 in this paperback version if you're following along. And the same thing with page 4. It's pretty much word for word. It's they're using it as in the comic. It's his thoughts. It's Fritz's thoughts, and they use it as exposition narrative in the boxes. So very well done. Um, Straightforward stuff as adaptation wise. Same thing with page 5. We get of course, the surprise in here is that Regal knows about Fitz's mission, which I didn't know that before. So that was like, oh, geez, why would he know about that? Um, and we move on once again to page 6, where let me see here. They're speaking about the princess. And one thing they left out of the comic was some dialogue by Prince Regal that he says in the book that the princess is easily dazzled, and they kind of left that out in the comic. In the book, you get the sense that it's just Regal being confident and uppity, but in the comic you're not quite sure that. You do realize that he's drunk. The artwork shows that he's drunk, so that's pretty cool. But we go on to page 7, and once again it's word for word there, and that ends chapter 21 in the book. But that they don't slow down in the comic. They go right off the bat. There was one thing in page 7 I wanted to point out was Prince Regal was quoted here by Fitz's thoughts as in the past, and they show that past sepia tone history very well. And I thought that was interesting, that contrast of Regal giving him advice from the past, even though it's advice that Fitz may have to use against Regal in his current situation. Very, very interesting there. But like I said, the comic doesn't slow down between chapters. It goes right into the next chapter on page 8, and there's actually one line from the previous chapter at the top of the page, and it shows Fitz going to sleep, and it says, "I was asleep as soon as my head touched the pillow," and then it goes right into this dream. Now the dream is in the epigraph of the chapter 22, which they didn't. This comic book adaptation has pretty much been ignoring the epigraphs throughout this whole adaptation, except for a few little things here and there. But this one was completely engrossed in page 8 of the book, and it was very, very interesting because it's the fool basically in his dream talking to him and telling him stuff, so I just found that very, very interesting. And he also has Shade in his dream, and Fitz is remembering Shade talking as well. And they have for the artwork, they have this weird purplish kind of coloring going on for the dream sequence. Very cool stuff. Very cool. All right, so moving on to page 9, we continue in the same vein. pretty much exact word for word adaptation. A couple of things, take shortened and stuff like that for the sake of the comic. And same thing with page 10. There was something that is not in the comic. Yes. The one thing on page 10 was that he asked somebody to, who would he ask? He asked somebody to try to contact the king with the talent. And it was August, and he asked August to contact King Shrewd. And he kind of forces him because he's showing him the king's token. And he's saying, "I'm gonna," he's pulling kind of pulling rank here, which is weird, but just the way things worked out. And so the guy tries. He says, and the guy, August, tells him, do what the king said. He's busy. But the book has Fitz trying to contact the king himself after that, and failing. But it was interesting that the comic chose not to display that at all. All right, so moving on, we got page 11. We got some word for word stuff here, and it's pretty much straightforward. There was page 12. There was a lot of Fitz observing the ceremonies, going back and forth in his head about what he was going to do. And there was a whole big section in the book here about Fitz's possibilities of what he could do. And they kind of skipped that in the comic because I think it was kind of obvious at this point, And so I think that was a good choice there. And we move on to page 13. There was one section that when Fitz is getting the poison from the Regal's butler there, his Shenashal or whatever it is, in the book he says out loud what kind of poison it might be, this Kex gum. And in the comic, he doesn't say it out loud. He says it in his own head. I thought that was an interesting contrast that they chose for that. Okay, so page 14. Let's see here. We got the note here. Let's see here. We had a cat passing by. All right. Yes, we got Fitz doing some sneaky spy work, and the artwork really showed off some of the descriptions in the book about where he was climbing and stuff, and what he was doing there. And I thought that was pretty clever on the artwork's part there. It was pretty neat. And let's see, moving on to page 15 and 16, we have, once again, pretty much word for word, page for page. It just really adapts it, fairly direct. And we see the one thing you got to pay attention in the comic is when on this page here, he's pouring a poison into a cup. He's showing him he's doing it. There's no subterfuge here. But it's important to pay attention who's handling which cup, because they don't over-explain it in the comic. Whereas in the book, she explains exactly what's happening with the cups and stuff like that. So that's pretty key. And yeah, we move right on to page 18. There's a that in the book she describes sounds. In the comic, they use sound effects. So that's excellent comic book lingo there, adaptation. And once again, we have the exact adaptations here, exact word for word, uh, page for page in the book to the comic. And page 20, the final page in this adaptation, was actually only like this much, just this much. That's it. The comic just shows the actions happening in this paragraph very well, and the yeah, and it really really does it justice. Um, they say he sees a burst of white light when Ketrican Ketrican hits him on the back of the head with that vase or whatever it is, and here they just kind of show like a little burst, like where she hit him, and that kind of has the same effect as the description of him seeing bright white lights before he gets knocked out. The book doesn't have that glare right there that we see at the end when she's glaring down at him. But I thought it was pretty appropriate that the comic included that as its final panel and, the big to be concluded. So, wow. This was an exciting issue along with exciting chapters. There's only Oh, there's one, the rest of chapter 22, and then one more chapter at the, oh, no, two more. Okay, so chapter 24. All right, chapter 24. So they got a lot to wrap up here. There's 30 pages. The epilogue's short, so there's 30 pages here to wrap up. Well, maybe 29. And, they're going to have a 20-page comic to wrap it up for the final issue. And, most likely they'll do most of the action stuff that I'm suspecting is going to happen for most of the issue, and probably wrap it up. In the exposition epilogue will be wrapped up shortly in the final pages of the comic. That's my guess. We've been getting used to these things, so I think I'll guess pretty well. What do you think? That's the cover for next issue, and of course, this is the beautiful covers by Anna Steinbauer. And all right, so we're almost there, folks. Almost at the end. One more month, and then I will be, and then I will finally finish this book. A year and a half of reading or so. That's been quite the journey. So we'll talk about that next month. And for now, I hope you've enjoyed this penultimate issue, number 17 of Comics versus Prose. If you have, please like and subscribe below. And if you've been following along, thank you so much. And be good to each other.